Hi YouTube, it's the Bean. A special thanks goes out to the Political Report for bringing me this information. Um, I had to actually cache this page from the link that she'd sent me from the RSS feed, and it states that Feinstein and Comey admit planning Australian-style gun buyback. This was published on Wednesday, December 26, 2012, and the picture that's missing is this, showing that Chinese police ground confiscated firearms and gasoline before setting them on fire. And they routinely destroy civilian firearms in an effort to maintain absolute power. So in that case, that's what they're doing here. It says, Ammoland Gun News, New Jersey. News that a mandatory government-sponsored gun confiscation scam is in the planning stages emerged last Friday. Friday is well known as the day of the week in the news cycle to release information or statements that is unusually controversial or bad news. The theory being that the general public will be so distracted by the upcoming weekend that they will pay little, if any, attention. So they're using the holiday. They're taking advantage of the holiday and trying to pass things that people aren't going to pay attention because they're trying to relax with their friends and family. So exploiting this common practice, word emerged at the end of last week that Congresswoman Dianne Feinstein and New York State Governor Andrew Comey are actively working on a planned government fiat to seize lawfully owned private property without cause in the form of an Australian-style mandatory firearms buyback program, going so far as to tout the country's program and so-called positive results while conveniently omitting that the fact that Australians' violent crime rate dramatically increased in the wake of the scam and continues unabated. So, like 6 weeks ago, I made a comment on stating that next America is going to do what they did in Australia with the whole gun confiscation laws. Like this was back when stupid ass Boob Costas said something in regards to the football player killing his girlfriend and then himself. So I talked to a gentleman living in Australia today that said that they feel betrayed by their government, rightfully so. I think that Australia is under UK, so it's sad, and that it hasn't done nothing for the crime, and crime still goes on because they've taken the guns out of lawful gun owners' hands, those people that would protect people from criminals, and it does nothing to keep guns out of criminals' hands. So I'm just going to see how easy it is to actually get a gun without even registering it, because I don't want to now. I want a gun, but I don't want to register it and call myself lawfully owning it, because they're unlawfully taking lawful gun owners' guns away. So why do I want to lawfully own a gun? While details are scant in both Feinstein and Comey's press release on the plan, Comey was quoted as making it clear that the buyback would be compulsory and participation mandatory, although it remains a question what the penalties for noncompliance would be. And if you have any idea of the magnitude of this act being legislated on and passing, would be pretty much obvious what the penalties would be for noncompliance. I mean, anybody with a brain that knows what they're doing here, why they're doing it, can just imagine what the punishments would be. So Comey further added that they would make gun owners an offer they can't refuse when referring to buyback amounts of up to $500, which is nothing. $500 barely pays my rent. So, I mean, guns are priceless right now. In the wake of all this shit, and all the terror and all the crime, why would they not want people to be armed? Honestly. But we know why they don't want its citizens to be armed, because there is something going on behind the scenes, something very sinister that they're about to unleash on us. And I don't even know if a gun could protect us from what they want to do, what they're trying to do. So sounding more like a New York mafioso than a leader in a free state with significant constitution protections in the way, Kami's offer serves not only to further reveal his elitist arrogance, but also highlights his ignorance, presuming that the owner of a $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 firearm, or multiple ones for that matter, would just roll over and comply for a cash value offer of a magnitude below retail values, or even resale values. I mean, if you were to take your gun and resell it to, say, a person like me, wink, wink, you would probably be able to sell it for far more than $500. So this is a bullshit ass plan. Hopefully nobody sees any sense in it. But also worthy of note is Dianne Feinstein's previous quotes on the news program 60 Minutes several years ago during her interview with Mike Wallace about the 1994 to 2004 Clinton-era assault weapons ban, where Feinstein laminated the fact that she felt the law didn't go far enough and stated that, quote, if I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it. I could not do that. The votes weren't there, end quote. And bitch, I hope you don't get your way this time either, because you make no sense. The hypocrisy goes on. This is the same Dianne Feinstein who admitted in another different interview that when she felt threatened by terrorists, she carried a gun for self-defense and stated, quote, I carried a concealed weapon. I made the determination that if somebody was going to try and take me out, I was going to take them with me, end quote. Made the 27th of April, 1995. And Governor Kami has a taxpayer-supplied 24/7 security detail armed with the actual, real, fully automatic assault weapons at his side and disposal for his safety and the safety of his loved ones. So they have all of those privileges, and they want to take the right of American citizens who lawfully own guns. They want to take that right away from them people, them good people that aren't crazy, that have guns to hunt and to protect their home and their family. So why do they get 24/7 security detail armed to the teeth with real assault weapons, and this bitch gets to carry a gun for self-defense, but us average 99% Americans don't get to carry anything, don't get to have any kind of protection in our closets, in our nightstands, under our pillows, maybe even beside you in bed. You can't even have that to protect yourself and your family if somebody was to break in and threaten your life or the lives of your family. There now should be overwhelming evidence to anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together that we are no longer being led by elected officials that took their oath of office seriously, but by rulers, tyrants, who would be kings, no different than King George III. We might as well take Old Glory from every state capital and the U.S. Capitol in D.C. and replace it with the Union Jack. And while we're at it, we can rename Congress to Parliament. Hear, hear. I express the same values. We should just name President Obama King Turd and the Congress Parliament, because there really are no significant, recognizable differences between the yoke of tyranny we are all under today and the one we threw off over 200 years ago. If Feinstein and Kami's plan is allowed to proceed even one step further without being ferociously and publicly protested and killed in utero, they will have effectively struck the match and lit the fuse on a second American Revolution. And if they want to, they can bring it. Now I'm going to go and try and find me a gun, because I feel the need to have one just out of spite maybe I won't, maybe I probably won't even use it unless one of them bitches come knocking at my door and say that, we have to go through your house, but they don't have any reason to. Maybe unless they have this video. So, out of spite, I want to own a gun now. This article was brought by Dan Roberts, written by Dan Roberts, and he is a grassroots supporter of gun rights that has chosen AmmoLand Sporting News, shooting sporting news as his perfect outlet for his frank Jersey attitude, filled with articles on guns and gun owner rights. As a resident of the oppressive state of New Jersey, he is well placed to be able to discuss the abuses of government against our inalienable rights to keep and bear arms, as he writes from deep behind New Jersey's anti-gun Iron Curtain. Read more from Dan Roberts, and you can email him here at droberts@ammoland.com. And I want to thank Mr. Roberts for bringing this to our attention, because I think it's important. And if you think it's important too, please give me a thumbs up and go subscribe to Political Report. I do. I love to talk to her. She's an amazing woman. She will talk to you if you have an opinion. Let her know. She'll cuss you out if your opinion is socialistic and communistic. And for good right. I love her for it. I love her for bringing this information to me. And thanks for listening, YouTube. I'm out.